Hi everyone, it's Catherine here for Minky Finger Cat. Wasn't sure if I would get round to doing a card for today's challenge or not, because I've been a bit poorly for the last few days, so a little bit bedridden. But got a little bit of energy today. As you can see, I'm a little bit breathless. So my voiceover is going to be a bit weird. But yeah, I managed to get a bit more energy today. Managed to go out for a little walk with the hubby, to go and grab us some lunch, and then back into my gym jams. But I thought rather than heading straight to bed, I would see if I could get some creative stuff done. So I thought I'd join in with Martin's challenge. So the challenge is a colour challenge today, which is cinnamon, charcoal and birch white. So I decided I'd just grab this piece of vellum and do a bit of stenciling, using the brick stencil and that oval to create a little panel of brickwork, and then use the baked textures Seth Apter embossing powders, which are really cool because they've just got loads of like bits in them that melt differently, so it creates a really good brick texture. I think it's rust is the actual colour of this, but it's got a bit of coppery shine, and I just thought it was nice and it would make a nice little background. And then, apologies, I'm so breathless, I just can't get my breath at the moment. So then I was, heavily influenced by someone in the group whose name has totally escaped me, but I think she's on a design team for Tracey Hey designs. If not, she's obviously a really big fan because she has been creating quite a few using the Tracey Hey stamps, and I realised I hadn't got any of her Christmas stamps. Now, I love Tracey Hey design stamps, and I've got a few. I've not got loads, but I've got a few of her sets. And I was like, why do I not have a Christmas one? So yeah, it fell into the basket and then it got bought. Oops. So I decided to use the bear because it was on my desk, because it only arrived, it arrived whilst I've been poorly. So it's just been sat on the desk waiting to be used. So I decided to use that and to colour the bear. Apologies, it's off camera. I keep forgetting where the camera's actually pointing at when I'm crafting. But yeah, I'm just watercolouring it loosely with both the black soot and the hickory smoke distress inks. So I stamped it in the black soot, and then I've used my water and my brush to just create like a bit of shading on the bear, and then I added a little bit more shading using the hickory smoke ink because I thought that went along with the charcoal. And now I'm going to do some non-traditional coloured holly leaves to turn this into a bit of a Christmassy card, because at the moment it could be any old card. And again, I'm using the same colour, using the black soot and then a little bit of the hickory smoke to just add a little bit more depth to those holly leaves and the berries. And then I do bring in, when I've done the leaves and stuff, I do bring in a tiny little bit of vintage photo just for the berries, to give the berries a different colour. And so I do it after I've dried. And then I think, oh no, it does need a bit of colour on those berries. So just a tiny, tiny, tiny dot of the vintage photo, which is quite then a pale colour, but it kind of ties in with the cinnamon element of the colour challenge. So time to do a bit of fussy cutting. So yeah, I didn't really have a specific design in mind. I just wanted, when I saw the colour scheme, I thought of that baked texture embossing powder. And then I rummaged through my stencils and came up with the idea of the brick wall panel. And then when I was trying to grab some papers, I started off with like book prints. And then I thought, no, actually, I quite fancy the idea of a torn vellum thing. But I didn't really have a clue as to what I was really doing. I was just creating without thinking, because my brain is not really well enough to do thinking at this point in time. Yeah, it's been a rough old week. I've not been very well since Monday, really. Probably started with being a bit anxiety related. There was some stuff going on that was making me very anxious. And then I think I've just got myself a little bit run down and caught edge of a bug. I mean, to be honest, it could be COVID because I've lost my taste a bit as well. But I don't have any cold symptoms. I just feel totally exhausted. So don't know what's going on, but I feel like I should be well enough to go to work on Monday. That's the good news. I had Friday off on leave anyway because it was Vin's birthday. But I ended up being off sick on Wednesday and Thursday through various tummy upsets and various things, and then feeling just totally wiped out. So anyway, enough about that. So you can see there I've got a panel of, it is a black, but it's kind of like a really dark grey black, if you know what I mean. It's not quite a true black, that cardstock that's in the background. It's some Kingston Crafts everyday cardstock, and they have kind of like slightly different colours on each side of the cardstock. So one side is black and one side is a very, very dark grey, but yeah, blind man, galloping horse, probably wouldn't notice that it was grey rather than black. So I decided that I wanted to sew my panel with some messy sewing because I thought it kind of went with the watercolour messy look of the artwork on the stamps. And so I did some messy sewing, which I do off camera because you can't see anything because the camera's immediately above where I put my sewing machine. And then I just glued behind each of the brick panels, just a tiny dot of glue to be able to glue it into place, because then you don't see any adhesive on the vellum. I stuck my bear down with some adhesive foam tabs, and then 2 of the leaves, holly leaves, have been stuck directly down with glue, and then the other one I'll do later on with the foam tabs. And then I decided I wanted to cut out a like a tag shape for the sentiment. The sentiment's come from a magazine kit that I bought about a month ago, just because I wanted a little bit of new inspiration, and I just fancied the magazine set. So I've used it on a couple of cards, I think, but they might not yet have been shown. I can't remember. Anyway, I cut the die cut the tag 3 times so I could stack it up so it's got a bit of strength. And then I am going to go and use some waxed thread that, again, it's this sort of like very dark grey. It isn't quite black, it's not a true black, but I knew it would work well for this. It probably does look more black against that cardstock, which kind of shows that cardstock is not a true black. And then I do a lot of fiddling because I can't quite get the placement of the tag right, and the stringy bits aren't quite right, and eventually I get there and I can glue it down. And again, as I said, I'm going to raise this last set of leaves up with the adhesive tags. You'll note that I do a little dot of glue. That's not because I don't think it'll stick, although sometimes it doesn't stick on that sort of like baked texture stuff, but it's more so that I've got a bit of wriggle room. And then I decide, right, I am going to tape it down. Originally I was going to do, again, foam to raise this up against the card blank, and I've just used a normal standard white card blank, but I did end up doing tape so it was flat because I'd already got the dimension from the bear and the holly leaves. So that's me done. So another Christmas card done for the Martin's 30 days of Christmas card making challenge. And yeah, I'm a happy bunny that I've managed to do that. Now I think it's time for a rest. So please subscribe, like, etc. And until next time, goodbye.